2023 season comes to an end. Good night.
Hello, and in today's video we are doing a 2023 review and an FPL preview for game week number 20. That's right, we're back for another deadline stream. This is ahead of game week 20, and it's our last deadline stream of the year 2023. So we're really going to reminisce about the last year, things that have happened in FPL over 2023. That, of course, includes the end of the 2022-23 season and the beginning of the 2023-24 season. But what will 2024 bring? Well, we'll find out next year. But let's look back at how we got on firstly. Make sure you smash a like on the video. Comment your thoughts on 2023 as a year for you in FPL. What was your favourite transfer of 2023? What was your worst transfer? What was your favourite FPL moment? And of course, what was your best game week score of 2023? I'm pretty sure mine was back in game week 29 of the 2022-23 season, scoring 143 points and only taking a -4, so it was 139 on aggregate, and that is in history my highest ever FPL total, because I did score 146 points I think in the 2021-22 season, but that was back when I took a -12, and so it wasn't quite the same impact. So it was ultimately amazing, and what a season it's been. In 2022-23 I finished my best ever overall rank of 18k. It was a really good season, and we'll look back at my previous kind of ranks in a second, but ultimately 2023 has been a year to remember for me in FPL with that rank, and quite a tough season it's got to be said in 23-24, but we'll get to that. Let's start off by putting our kind of results aside and reflecting on game week 18, which of course was blank game week 18, the Boxing Day games after this as well. Now, game week 18, Man City and Brentford blanking due to the Club World Cup. Now, a lot of people had sold the likes of Brian Burmo and Erling Haaland because of their injuries anyway, but some people had Man City players or Brentford players on their benches, the likes of Julian Alvarez, who of course scored in the Club World Cup, also Pinnock. A few people might have had Flecken on their benches, and the like. So, ultimately, interesting game week, very low average, 36 points. I suppose that happens when you have only 8 games in the week, but it was still a bit of an underwhelming game week. But we got ourselves a very nice 53 points. Now, ultimately, the last few weeks have been a bit more steady. Really, I've gone on a nice run. I think it's been around about 6 green arrows in the last 8 game weeks, which is a really nice run. But we'll get on to game week 18, 53 points, took a -4, which, to be honest, it didn't pay off, but on paper it should have done. I did a goalkeeper transfer because I had a situation in game week 17 where the same thing happened, which happened in game week 15, where I had no playing keeper. Unbeknown to me, official FPL unflag Areola for the Wolves game, thinking, oh yeah, he'll be fine. So I leave Sanchez injured on the bench because I had so many other fires to put out in game week 17, and all of a sudden, Areola doesn't play against Wolves. Fabianski does, gets the clean sheet and just rubs salt in the wound. We'll get on to Areola in a second for game week 19, but it was really frustrating. So I had to make a goalkeeper transfer. It was as simple as that. Areola had a game against Manchester United where I felt that West Ham would concede, and I needed a goalkeeper to replace the long-term injury of Sanchez. So in came Martin Dubravka for the -4. He had a couple of really nice green fixtures, and also going into March, kind of that sort of time of the season when we'll probably use that second wild card, I needed a keeper that I felt was going to be there for a while. I didn't think it was likely that Newcastle would sign a new keeper in January, and ultimately I look at it and think, well, it would have been unlucky if they'd done that, and Newcastle was still up there with all the best teams like Arsenal, of the best defences to target. So it made sense to go for that one. And so what happened was, in the end, Luton scored, and that was a painful one. I also did, as part of the -4, Watkins in, because he was simply essential ahead of home to Sheffield United. Of course, I brought him in for the -4, captained him, and he blanked, as would be the way of FPL at the moment. It is just going against logic. So I took out Isak, of all people, who of course we know scored in game week 19 just to troll me. And it was Turner, of course, who, fumbled that penalty, who I sold a few weeks ago and has been starting since. I mean, it's just typical luck. But game week 18, not too bad. I mean, yeah, on paper, great transfers. Watkins and Dubravka, really nice for the long term. Watkins has been one of the best strikers to own this season. Alexander Isak has been so infuriating. I mean, the week I thought Watkins was injured, he wasn't. He scored against Bournemouth, and Isak frustratingly blanked against Manchester United. Then he had Everton, and then he blanked Isak, and then he had Tottenham. Okay, he blanked again. Okay, fine. At least he's got a nice couple of fixtures, Fulham and Luton. He gets somehow not in the squad for the Fulham game, and I have to have my, terrible divine Mubama off the bench because I didn't know Isak wouldn't play. Again, injury, after the press conference, that's really helpful. And then against Luton, he gets benched and doesn't come on. So, I'm thinking, at least I've done the transfer well there because I sold Isak in the head of the Luton game and he gets benched and then he comes on, but at least he plays. And then he, of course, starts against Forest and he scores. And Watkins blanks against United and Sheffield United. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. But goalkeeper situation is painful, really, because just the 3 points from Dubravka against Luton, at least it was save points. That's the upside you get from Dubravka, which is at least some sort of a positive. But at the same time, it is so infuriating how every single time I bring in a keeper, they just manage to not keep a clean sheet. I mean, that is just the story of this FPL season. So I can't say I'm really surprised. And it's nothing different, but it would have just been nice to get a bit of jam with the goalkeeper situation because I've had so much unluckiness with that recently. What with Robert Sanchez and Areola on my bench and all that lot. The clean sheet against Manchester United in game week 18 was painful. And so, of course, Areola was stuck on my bench just because that's my luck. But it is what it is. So, Dubravka, 4 saves. I mean, Luton's goal, Andros Townsend, you knew it was going to happen against Newcastle, but just terrible defending from Newcastle. And just kind of not been good recently. And maybe I should have thought, Newcastle's defence has not been great recently. So, having Dubravka and Trippier, maybe that was not the best of transfers. But on fixtures and on long-term potential for points, I always try to look at projected points rather than what's happened recently, because we still know that Newcastle are one of the best defences in the league, and I thought projected points, with those fixtures that they had on the horizon were quite promising. But no, Newcastle have been frustrating the last couple of games, because I thought about maybe going for a Bird Leno or a Martinez, but to be honest, they actually did just as bad, if not worse, in those couple of game weeks, so it actually didn't matter too much. As I've said, no goalkeeper has been a standout this season, so it is what it is. At least Dubravka will play minutes, unlike Sanchez, who's out injured. So frustrating, but at the same time, what can I do? So that is what it is. And moving on to the rest of our team, we had a very frustrating defence as well, especially Kieran Trippier, as I mentioned, with that Luton game. I mean, he was back from his suspension. Why couldn't he just played the game week 17 fixture? Because I needed someone to come off my bench because I didn't know Solanke's points would be voided with the blank game week that ended up becoming it when the game against Luton got abandoned. But yeah, Trippier 2 points. I mean, very, very frustrating stuff. And he's just so expensive at the moment. And is he justifying the price? Well, this is what I always ask myself. And then I transfer him out and then he'll deliver a massive haul, just like in game week 11 against Arsenal. So I kind of think this guy's just worth being patient with. But in the last few weeks, it's been 1 pointers and -1 in game week 16. So, I mean, it's just frustrating at this point. His fixtures are coming up really bad. But then after that, it's Luton and I think it's Fulham as well. Forest. So great fixtures again. But is he too expensive? Should we just get a Dan Burn and just hope that Trippier doesn't haul? Because Trippier can always haul. That's why everyone's got him. But he's just very much a lot of money to carry through if he gets 1 pointers regularly. So it's one of those things to consider. He's obviously a cash cow for me to get someone like Haaland back in the not too distant future. Obviously Trippier probably stays in game week 18 just because sorry, 20, just because Haaland is unlikely to play Sheffield United with him not being in the squad against Everton. But yeah, look, frustrating stuff really. Taylor 6-pointer, lovely, clean sheet, differential points. You love to see those against Fulham. I felt that game would be a tight one, and yeah, nice to see that clean sheet come through. Charlie Taylor, still under 6% owned, and he's very differential, but he's perfect for when there's a good fixture for Burnley, because although they don't get many clean sheets, you know, for a fixture like that, I felt Fulham wouldn't score, especially with, you know, Jimenez out suspended. So, yeah, really nice return for Charlie Taylor. And then Pedro Porro, I mean, I thought the clean sheet was going to come. It looked like it was, 2-0 up, you know, looking good, and then 82nd minute or something, Andre Gomez, you know, revenge for that challenge from Son on him a few seasons back. And yeah, frustrating to see the clean sheet wipe out so late there. But, you know, that is Spurs. We shouldn't expect clean sheets from them. It's all about the attacking potential of Pedro Porro, which is really, really good. He gets lots of bonus points. So he's been a really good buy for me since that Game Week 17 fixture against Forest. The midfield was really frustrating in Game Week 18 because Gordon somehow blanked against Luton. I don't know how. He should have at least got an assist because he got an assist against Fulham in a week that I thought he'd be injured. He was absolutely fine against Luton. He started the game much as we thought he wasn't going to play. He started, and he should have had an assist because Callum Wilson, how he's not scored that from, you know, that close to the goal, it's really a baffling situation. But Hwang Hee-chan blanked as well, and that was a frustrating one, to be honest, against Chelsea, because I watched the game. He looked quite lively at times. I mean, not as lively as I would have liked, but he had that chance just before half-time where he just kind of managed to kind of mishit it, and the kind of volley one, it was not one-on-one, but it was kind of a half chance, and he just mishit it over the bar. And so, yeah, kind of that's the third blank in a row for Hwang Hee-chan. And my patience was tested, to be honest. Going into Game Week 19, we'll talk about whether I kept him or not, because of course I had those transfers plans in Game Week 19, possibly an Arsenal midfielder, possibly someone else. But Palmer, he also then got me the 1-pointer, and yeah, very frustrating. Got booked, suspended for Game Week 19, but he did of course haul against Sheffield United, so I can't complain too much. And he's back for that tasty Luton game in Game Week 20. So yeah, a frustrating game, that Wolves-Chelsea one on Christmas Eve, but it is what it is. Salah, 7-pointer, nice, got the goal against Arsenal, very good goal. It's frustrating that he got himself booked for a kind of frustrating, you know, stoppage of play, a bit of back chat or something, time wasting, whatever. But still got the goal, very happy with that. And ultimately, it is good to see that Salah is still consistent. We know how good he can be at that. And ultimately, Son as well, another goal for him against Everton. And he's just very, very consistent. I know he's usually a one to haul, but still will take the goal in a pretty low-scoring week. It was welcome returns from that part of my midfield. And then the front two, Watkins, captain, blank, of course. That's just FPL for you. I think he probably was the most transferred in, or maybe it was Solanke, I'm not sure, but I think it was Watkins, and of course he blanks, and of course Isak, he ends up getting some minutes against Luton. Of course, I think Wilson did start, but Isak came off the bench, or at least played like 50 minutes or something, Isak, so I think he might have come on just before half-time or something. I think there was the injury, wasn't there, to someone in Newcastle, before half-time, I think it possibly was. So, but Watkins on the captaincy was the right decision before deadline. Sheffield United, you got to always target them, but just unlucky Watkins because he's had that assist for the Bailey goal that got ruled out. So it could have been a return at least, but yeah, it wasn't to be. And I'd never really thought about captaining Son. Like against Everton, he wasn't a bad shout, but you had to target that Sheffield United game. So it is what it is. Solanke though, absolute king. Dominic Solanke, my guy. The King Solanke with his first senior hat-trick, and that is justice for the Solanke owners in Game Week 17, with that game obviously, very unfortunately getting abandoned. Those that transferred in Solanke for a -4 to replace Haaland, and he scored, and then of course he gets nothing, so it feels like, a nice bit of, luck for the Solanke owners, and what a hat-trick. There's no luck involved in this, pure skill, but incredible haul for him against Forest, and really, really good stuff. I mean, 17-pointer, legend, and yeah, really kind of carried my week. So great game week in the end. It didn't look like it was going to be for most of it, but then of course we had the pain of Gabriel. I mean, how this guy keeps trolling me every single time this season. I mean, I've owned Gabriel for 2 goals across my FPL career, and both occasions he's been on my bench. It was game week 27 of last season, which was one of my kind of most painful moments of 2023, benching 26 points with Erdegaard first bench and Gabriel with a goal against Fulham, where he just doesn't ever score outside of me owning him. And he scored again on my bench. Just painful stuff, really. And then, of course, I bench boosted in game week 29, which was a pretty nice bench boost, 23 points, but not as many as that game week 27 pain. And, of course, wildcard in game week 26, just for 37 points. It was a painful part of my FPL time in 2023, but this was also painful. Gabriel, man, the redemption arc was finally there. The bullet header just came in the wrong week. It came the wrong week, and away to Liverpool, you'd have always started, those defenders over him with better fixtures. It's just one of those things. Areola 8-pointer as well. I mean, this guy's just got to be on the same troll level as Gabriel. I mean, for weeks and weeks, I own this guy on the wild card game week 9, him with Turner, and Areola just keeps on blanking in nice fixtures, doesn't get a clean sheet since game week 7. And so, yeah, I'm thinking, okay, Areola will be fine. He's got great games. He keeps conceding every single week. And then the one week that I transfer out Sanchez to replace, him, and to have someone who's not going to be Areola because, he just kept conceding, and he's got Man United who, yes, they're pretty poor, but West Ham hadn't kept a clean sheet since game week 7, and they kept conceding. And they'd conceded 5 in midweek against Liverpool. I was like, nope, Areola probably won't play. Fabianski will be in favour. And Areola starts, and he gets a clean sheet on my bench. Whereas Dubravka against Luton, the harder fixture, was Man United, and Areola still gets a clean sheet. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. Terrible, terrible luck. So what can I do about that? Saliba 2-pointer. Yep, very, very nice to see that Liverpool did score, because I wanted Salah's points, but frustrating that obviously Gabriel got the goal. Mubama 0-pointer as well. Didn't think he'd play against Man United, and that was correct. So all in all, a decent little week, to be honest. Game week 18, 53 points. It was a real shame with those transfers, as I mentioned. The -4. It was pretty funny in the end, because in game week 17, I think it was I broke even, and I kind of didn't really have a good kind of game week in terms of my transfers that week, but it is what it is. Like, long term, those transfers are still good, and so I'm not too fussed about it. Look, you look at the fact that Sanchez didn't play, so Dubravka got 3 points. That's a 3-point gain. All right, Isak got 1 point. That's Watkins got 2. It's a 1-point gain. It's 4 points gain, -4. It cancels out. We're breaking even, so not ideal, but obviously not great at the same time. Now, going into game week 19, so that was a green arrow for game week 18, a nice little rise from 594k to 534,989 overall rank. So a nice kind of, roughly 60k green arrow, really overall points 1,032, and 53, pretty solid stuff. Just a shame about the 20 points on the bench. But going into game week 19, we made just no transfers, because we felt that going into the Boxing Day games, we didn't need to change much, because we felt about Erling Haaland that he might be involved in some minutes against Everton, so we wanted the 2 free transfers for game week 20 to possibly have to get Haaland in, and it ended up being that Haaland didn't play in the Everton game, and so now we've got 2 free transfers and not much, Haaland transfers to make in game week 20, but we'll get onto that. So game week 19, as I said, I rolled the transfer, and I had Dubravka yet again because he had a home fixture to Nottingham Forest, which made a lot of sense, because, they haven't been doing well, and they lost against Bournemouth with Nuno Espirito Santo coming in. I felt they wouldn't score many goals. Newcastle at home are much better usually for clean sheets. But no, Chris Wood decides to turn into prime Ronaldinho and score a hat-trick, and I just can't believe it. So yeah, Dubravka 2-pointer, really frustrating, but conceding 3 and still getting 2 points is still decent. Got the save points yet again. But yeah, that's 5 points in the 2 weeks I've owned Dubravka. And in the meantime, Mr. Troll Areola away to Arsenal. No one would have started him. And, of course, he gets a 10-pointer. You just can't write these things. It is just absolutely painful and not fair. All right, Areola, there's just no need for that. And I don't appreciate it. So, midfield and defence was a bit mixed, but we'll start with the defence, which was pretty bad, clean sheet wise. Trippier again, 1-pointer. I mean, he got himself 3 conceded, and just Newcastle defence not looking good at the moment, and now they've got terrible fixtures. So maybe selling Trippier makes sense. Selling Dubravka doesn't, because I need a keeper who's going to get minutes, and for the, at least at the moment he's going to be playing games. Just please don't sign another keeper. If not, I've got Areola to come in, who's obviously got clean sheets in the last few. But yeah, Trippier is just so expensive at the moment, and he's maybe not justifying his price. Porro, 5-pointer. This guy is a legend. Concedes 4 goals away to Brighton, and yet still gets a 5-pointer and 2 bonus. 6-goal thriller, and he gets 2 bonus. I mean, that guy, he's so attacking. What a cross it was for Ben Davies' goal. It was fabulous from Porro. And he's just so attacking. I just love him. Absolutely love him. And so, yeah, he is an absolute season keeper for me. Just so attacking. Gabriel, 1 point. Yeah, very frustrating. Arsenal, don't know what they were doing against West Ham, to be honest. Very, very bad performance. Especially defensively. Their mix-up, I don't know what they were doing for that West Ham first goal. Now, did it cross the line? Was it out of play? Quite possibly. But VAR's got such terrible angles that they couldn't make it a conclusive judgment. So well done VAR for being absolutely useless. They've said they've had 5 different angles, 6 different angles. Well, it'd be nice if we could see them, and we could see them that aren't 50 miles away, so we can actually see what's going on. But yeah, terrible Arsenal defensively. I mean, Gabriel kind of mishit it, and then it came off him, and then it bounced to Bowen, and then Gabriel, I think, missed it again, missed kick, and it falls to Souček. I mean, yeah, terrible Arsenal defending. And that was only, 20 minutes in, so double clean sheet wipeout, painful stuff. And then, of course, they concede the second one for the -1 as well. It's just so annoying. And, of all people, of course, it was going to be Mavropanos against his former side. And so, yeah, look, not good. And Chris Wood, obviously, against his former side. So, a few, ex-players haunting my defenders this week. Then we had Gordon, 1-pointer. I mean, how he's getting himself booked again, I don't quite know. Obviously, he got the suspension a few weeks back and had to sit out the 5 yellow cards. But, yeah, he's just very frustrating, Gordon, because the weeks that I would have wanted him to haul, he's just been a bit underwhelming. Luton, Forest, those great fixtures. And then against Chelsea, Man United is when he delivered the goods. It's weird how things work out. But, look, Gordon's been such good value since Game Week 9. I brought him in on that wild card. So I'm not going to complain too much, but still annoying. Salah captaincy blank. Yeah, against Burnley. Did not see that coming, to be honest. But I guess he's got this thing against Burnley. Can't seem to score. And ultimately frustrating that, yeah, he didn't quite deliver the goods. But, Son also only got 5 points. So it's not that much of a kind of swing, to be honest. Got the assist for that goal for Spurs. And ultimately it was a, return that I'll take at this point. Like, midfielders didn't score a lot this week, but one midfielder that did, my guy Hwang Hee-chan, ending 2023 with a flourish. My guy, what a king. Honestly, I love this guy. He's been my differential gem since Game Week 9, along with Gordon, and a 14-pointer, 10.5% owned at the time of buying, at the time of Game Week 19's fixtures. I think when I bought him, he was like 5%, 4%, crazy, back in Game Week 9. He's just been so great. Assist against Bournemouth, goal against Newcastle, goal against Burnley, nice returns in the game against, I think it was it Aston Villa or something? Or no, I didn't own him for that game, did I? But he's just been so consistent. And yeah, 14-pointer is the first proper haul from him. It was lovely jubbly. Goals. 2 goals in the game. Obviously gets injured with a back spasm, gets subbed off at half time, but to be honest, he still takes home the 3 bonus in a 4-1. I mean, just an absolute king. So Hwang Hee-chan, thank you very much. Watkins blank against Man United was frustrating, and then Solanke, it's what he does. Mr. Consistent, scores another goal from the penalty spot. And then Areola 10-pointer, leave it out, Areola, okay? There's just no need for that. Arsenal was so frustrating from an offensive point of view, and just willing an Arsenal goal from somewhere, but it just didn't happen. Taylor 1-pointer against Liverpool, glad I benched him. although most of my defenders got 1 point. And then Mubama and Palmer, obviously Palmer suspended after the yellow card in game week 18, and Mubama didn't play. So look, all in all, great game week, and that's back-to-back green arrows for the first time in a long time. The last time I got back-to-back green arrow was game week 13 and 14, so I did get 3 green arrows between 12 and 14. But look, the run of green arrows recently has been absolutely massive. I mean, I was so used to getting back-to-back red arrows between game week 2 and game week 11. But now, since game week 12, it's been, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green arrows. That's 6 green arrows in the last 8 game weeks. I mean, that's consistency. That's right there, what we love to see. And up to an overall rank of 494k. So, going into game week 20, what are the transfers? And we will quickly round off game week 20's captaincy as well, and talk about 2023 as a year, and then we'll get this out for you. But Areola in goal, Brighton at home, not a bad fixture, to be honest. I'm pretty kind of okay with that, because Brighton, I know they scored 4 against Tottenham, but Spurs were just poor in that game. I think with Areola's couple of clean sheets, surely he gets a clean sheet. Just don't troll me again, Areola. There's no need. Pedro Porro's got Bournemouth, great fixture. I think there's potential for attack and returns there. Bournemouth probably do score, but Porro's just so offensive. That's what he's there for. Gabriel, Fulham away. Now, Fulham recently have not been great, not scoring a lot of goals. Obviously lost against Bournemouth heavily and against Burnley, so hopeful of a Gabriel clean sheet and a Gabriel bullet header, just like he did in the game last season at Craven Cottage, please. This time he's not on the bench, so fingers crossed it happens again. And then Saliba away to Fulham as well. I've got to play both of them because Fulham away is a pretty nice fixture for a clean sheet, in my opinion. Their midfield, Hwang Hee-chan has got Everton, but has he? That's the question. Will he be injured? Because he obviously got that back spasm, but O'Neill said he thinks he might be back for Everton. So, one last hurrah for Hwang before he goes off to the Asia Cup. Might keep him, it's possible, or might transfer him out for someone like, Ødegaard. But Arsenal were poor against West Ham. I'm not too keen on that. They are playing Fulham, though. Or maybe I'll get Richarlison, but he didn't look great against Brighton. Did hit the post, to be fair. I could go for someone else then, like, somehow like a Villa midfielder or something. Douglas Luiz could be an option. Possibly someone else like going for a Bowen, who obviously scored yet again points in game week 19 with that assist. So, I don't know. I'm going to think about it, but Hwang Hee-chan could go. Gordon's got Liverpool, which I don't think is a terrible fixture. Obviously, Liverpool have been one of the better defences along with Arsenal. But still, Gordon can score in any game and scored in the reverse fixture against Liverpool. And then Palmer's got Luton, great fixture. Salah's on the captaincy against Newcastle. Defensively have been awful. It's a tough one between him and Son, but I think I'm just leaning towards Salah because we know how good Salah can be at Anfield. And Son is, a bit unpredictable sometimes, whether he does well or not. Bournemouth, obviously, defensively have not been that bad recently, and I think Spurs can score goals there, but maybe Salah just scores a few more. And then Watkins and Solanke, great fixtures. Tottenham defensively a bit suspect. Watkins has got Burnley, great fixture, possible captaincy, but we know what happened against Sheffield United, so I'm not going to go there at the moment. The bench, though, Dubravka's Liverpool, and that's a tough one. Trippier's also got Liverpool. Now, Trippier could haul in any game, we know that, but I think away to Liverpool's a tough place to go, and Salah's on the captaincy, so I'm not too keen on that. Taylor got Villa, tough game, and then Mubama, Brighton at home. So, yeah, those are the kind of selection situation at the moment. And now, if we're going to think about transfers, I think if I had 1 free, I probably would have rolled because I would want 2 frees to get Haaland in 21 because he'd probably be back for then. But I could get Alvarez for a 1 week punt and then just get Haaland back with the second free transfer in game week 20. So I could just do, 21, sorry. So I could do Mubama to Alvarez, but then I'd just be selling Alvarez probably to get back the money for Haaland, or I could sell Trippier. Or remember, Salah will be going after this week, so I can use the Salah money to get Haaland for Alvarez. That's also a possible situation. So maybe Mubama to Alvarez is the play here, to be honest. That might be the play. And then what I could do is just bench Hwang if he's, an injury doubt, and then just have, basically a 3-4-3, start Trippier and bench Hwang. That is a situation that's feasible. Or the other situation I could do is sell Hwang and get in like some sort of midfielder, Richarlison maybe against Bournemouth, that could have potential. Or I could go for someone else like, I don't know. I'm looking at the fixtures for Game Week 20 and I'm not going to want a Chelsea midfielder. I could get Nkunku maybe for Alvarez, but instead of Alvarez for Mubama, but I'm not sure I would go there. Villa midfielders possible for Doug Suisse. I could go for someone like an Eze, but I don't think, or Elise, but probably not. Man City midfielder Foden, but it's a bit too risky for me. Maybe like a Manchester United mid, but again, I'm not too confident on that. Arsenal midfielder possibly. It's a tough one this week. I had looked at Pascal Gross possibly because he's really doing well at the moment, and Pedro obviously scored 2 against Spurs. I'm looking at Pedro possibly. Mubama to Pedro is not the worst shout. West Ham defensively are not great, but I've already got Areola. So I think I probably will just go for the midfield transfer of Hwang out, because I'm not going to probably want to sell Salah ahead of Newcastle with Haaland's injured out. So it makes sense. I think I'll probably do Hwang or Gordon out, and I'll probably do one of Richarlison or possibly like a Man City midfielder, because I just don't think there's enough long term. Although Foden, with De Bruyne coming back, maybe Foden won't play in the same position. That's the thing. So I think Alvarez is probably a better shout. And I just don't know if Alvarez is worth it because it's so short term. But maybe it's just one to go for, because I just need more bench strength and get Mubama in for Hwang and then just transfer out Mubama. That's probably what I'll do. So I think I'm fancying that, to be honest. Alvarez against Sheffield United could be a good captaincy shout. I'll probably still go Salah because he's more reliable. But Mubama to Alvarez makes a lot of sense, I think. And then I just do Alvarez to Haaland when he's fit. It's just a 1 week punt. I don't mind it. I don't really want to play Trippier, so I can just bench him and bench Hwang and probably do that, to be honest, and just sell Hwang in Game Week 21. So yeah, Mubama to Alvarez, locked in, captaincy on Salah, lovely jubbly. We're going to make the transfer very, very soon. But yes, that's my transfer. So hope you have enjoyed this FPL preview. Quickly to run down 2023, the sort of situations I've had. Yep, I've been having a great year. The likes of Mahrez in Game Week 23, 14-pointer. Oh, don't forget the first transfer of 2023, Martial to Mitrovic, the goal against Leicester, but then he got booked and suspended for the second game in the double against Chelsea. Of course, Harvey Barnes' goal in Game Week 38 against West Ham, that was Limbs. Kane against Leeds, captaincy, Game Week 38, 32-pointer transferred in. Hwang Hee-chan's been epic this year for me. And of course, let's not forget my legend, that is, of course, Kulusevski, but that was technically 2022. But at the start of 2022-23, 13-pointer Game Week 1. What a guy. McAllister, 99th minute goal against Man United for 12 points. I benched Estupinian, 17-pointer against Arsenal, Game Week 36. That was painful. Shaw, 15-pointer. Kane, 16-pointer against Palace. Haaland, triple captain. Nope, believe it or not, it was Rashford. It was Rashford, Game Week 22, 60-pointer. And of course, the man, the myth, the legend, that is Mr. Yes, somehow I got a massive 16 points from Estupinian in Game Week 34. And of course, Alvarez, my guy, 14-pointer just this season, back in Game Week 4 against Fulham. So yeah, great season, great year 2023, with an overall rank last season that was really tasty. As you can see here, Game Week 38 of last season, what a season it was. Look at that, lovely stuff, 18,795. So hopefully a much more better year, even better in 2024. If we can get that top 10k finish, that would be amazing, especially as we're ranked at the moment around 400, 500k. But there's a long way to go in the season. Things can change. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye, everyone.